What is the correct message for the general Tzibur of Klal Yisrael, who now has to deal with the terribly sad reality of having the Holy Torah community full of these off-the-derech, rebellious-looking adults all over the place, openly and brazenly being Mechal Shabbos, dressing like Goyim, talking like Goyim, even if they speak Yiddish, acting like Goyim? Is the general Tzibur supposed to be moicha and show disgust? Are they supposed to ignore them and look away? Or are they supposed to hug them and show them love? And if so, isn't that validating their awful behavior and sending them the wrong message again? The kids said, what is everyone out of this room, not the parents? What is the Tzibur supposed to do? Because we never had this matzah, ever, probably, ever, that you could walk in the streets and you pass by the park. I went to my park near me on a Friday night. Within 10 minutes, I was sitting surrounded by guys. I brought my kids with me to be mechanech them. And they're smoking on Shabbos, and within 10 minutes, the kid next to me looks at me and he says, why are you being nice to us? Everybody hates us. And I turned to him and I said, look in my eyes. What do you see? He looked in my eyes. He says, you don't hate us. You're a nice guy. His impression was everybody hates them. And I said, listen, some people don't know what to do. So they walk the opposite direction. They don't go through the park. They're not looking when they pass by you. Are we supposed to avoid them, embrace them? What is the mission of the Tzibur of Klal Yisrael?
The mitzvah of Tochacha is a mitzvah to give Musa, to give rebuke, Mechiach Tzanyanim. But what's the connection between him or her and myself? Now, I want to get something over the ocean, it's very nice. But what's the instrument? What's the bridge that's going to carry something from point A to point B? I want to come through Tiyanim. I want him to change or her to change his or her ways. What's the channel? What's the bridge? What's the road? What's the street? Wie kommt what I want of that person so that it even reaches the person on the other side? It's only ahava. The road between yourself and anyone other than yourself is ahava. And it's the only way to get through. If you look in Parshas Devorim, when Moshe Rabbeinu is Mechiach Klal Yisrael, Bamidbar, Barov, Moilsov, Ben Poron, Ben Toivel, Velovan, Bachatzeres, V'Bizor, there's a famous Rashi that says that Moshe Rabbeinu was careful with the covet of Am Yisrael when he's giving them Musar. And therefore, he used all kinds of hints, Remozim, and he referred rather to the location of the Chait than to talk about the Chait itself. Later on in the Parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu goes all out. He gives them Musar V'Zdaf zu sein. So this forum asks, why in the beginning was he being so careful to give them that respect and to keep their dignity intact, and then all of a sudden, what does the teretz? You can't give Tochacha. You have no right in the world to be Mechiach if the respect, if the dignity of the person you're trying to with is not intact, is not there. If you lose that, so who's going to take your DIVREI Tochacha and get it into the person you're trying to be Mechiach? So at first when Moshe Rabbeinu began, Otegret Beremes, Nekvoidon Shel Yisrael, he wanted to be respectful to them. He wanted for them to still have their dignity intact and feel respected. Once they felt respected, he was able to talk to them and give them Musar. Another pshat. V'oid ma'at ve'ein rosho. V'izboinanto al mekoimoi ve'einenu. Apostle continue. What's the pshat? V'oid ma'at ve'ein rosho v'izboinanto al mekoimoi ve'einenu. The Heilige Machne Chaim was once traveling. The group of his Talmidim on a train. And in the train, there was a Freie Yid, and he was acting fry. And then he was about to bite into a treif and a sandwich. The Talmidim of the Heilige Machne Chaim started giving him Musar, talking down to him, being negative towards him. The Heilige Machne Chaim stopped him and he said, where are you from? And he said, he's from this and this shtot. The Machne Chaim then turns to his Talmidim and says, you wonder why he's acting this way? That's the shtot of a fellow they would call Acher. There was a fellow in that shtot that was Machal Yid Nevelus Utreifes. And the Machne Chaim said to his Talmidim, now you understand, V'oid Ma'at Ve'ein Rosho. What does it take to make from a Rosho, a Ein Rosho, V'izboinanto al Mekoimon? Try to analyze his mokim. Where is he from? What's the circumstances? What happened to him, to her? Ve'inenu, you won't find a Rosh anymore. If you give a little time to analyze the circumstances, the different situations of that person's life. And I'm adding to this heilige word, du kannst misbeinen sein von ein bis nächste Jahr, and you'll never figure it out. Is oi bazei ve'ein Rosh. Kein Rosh is it nicht. Is the Orchid nicht. No understand? So when the Babi is asking what's the reaction or what should, the one thing we shouldn't be doing is giving toichochu. Before you create a channel that can only be created with lipshaf and with coming through to the person, there's no purpose in your toichochu. It's going to get nowhere. It's not going to bring the results you think it's going to bring. You can scream, you can turn red, your veins can pop. The first thing is misboinanto al mekoimon. Try to be misboinen of the mokoim. Al todenes chavercha shetegiel lemkoimo velemkoimoi. You'll never reach. You'll never get there. Ober mit lipshaf. If you can somehow convey to them that you really care, that's a geitach tako un. Like when the Heilige Chofetz Chaim was called to a Knessia to be mashpia on umis oilom, to be mevakel gzeira, all he did was cry. And when he cried, they wanted to translate what he was meaning to, and he said there's no need to translate because that's a language that we all understand. If you can show a child that's a geitach takun, not I'm disgusted because it's really, it pains me and I care for you, then can zayin, we can navigate. Could we can direct a child, a teenager, an adult, and bring them to a better place. But Chalila to show disgust, disgusted with what? Al todenes chavercha shetegiel lemkoimo, and you'll never be in his or her mokim. V'izboinanto al mekoimoi ve'einenu. Our avoid is to look into every Yid and find the Beis HaMikdash HaShlishi in the Yid. That Beis HaMikdash that never was destroyed and never will be destroyed. If you could find a little bit that's not a Rosh, then you're going to look for the Rosh and you're not going to find it. If you have the power to zero in, if you have that little scope that can look into every Yid and find a little bit that's Nishkin Rosh, you're going to look back and say, where is he? He's gone. I
just want to add one thing about this reaction. You asked what Klal Yisrael should be the reaction. My answer to this is like this. Every single morning, and if you haven't davened Ma'ariv tonight, the place to daven is by Atachayin Liyodam Das. Every one of us has to be blessed with the wisdom to say the right thing. And the whole Shemoneh Esrei is Lashon Rabim. V'choneinu me'yitcha. It's not only about you. It's not only about me. It's every one of us. We have to daven for each other that we should have the das to say the right thing to the children. And when you want to know what the reaction to Klal Yisrael is, tell people, daven for us. Daven for the children. V'choneinu, give us the wisdom to say the right thing. Because nobody knows for sure when it can turn around, when a child feels that you love him and that you care for him, and what thing you're going to say that's going to make a difference. But we need people to daven for us. That's what you should tell people. Daven for us and daven for yourselves. By Atachayin Liyodam Das, that you should be zoicha to have the right words to say to the kids. And if you daven for others, I'm telling you, everybody knows, you daven for others, Mit Hashem, you'll be answered first. And what I think is, find a child in another family the same age as yours, and daven for that child. Daven for that parent who's going through the same Gehenna that you are going through. And you'll see you'll be answered first. It works. It works because Chazal say it works, not because I say it works. He needs that thing. Don't daven for kids in general. daven for a 17-year-old that you know, and that parent is going through, daven for them, and you'll see, with Hashem, and that's chus, that you'll be answered. But it has to do with tefillah. Atachoinin liyadam das, and tell everyone that they should daven for the kids.
And you also have to daven that the people they're coming in contact to say the right thing.
That's right. Positively.
They should have das also, yeah.
Positively. 100%.